You know what's really interesting? The other day, I was chatting with a good friend of mine, and he hit me with a question that really made me think. He asked, "Why do some people succeed while others don't?" I told him that success comes with a price, and that price is sacrifice. I grew up on a farm in Idaho, and there's something about farming that totally changed how I view success. Every spring, my dad would pick out our best seeds, the ones we could have eaten, and we could have sold those seeds, but he'd just bury them in the ground. As a young boy, I thought that was nuts. Why waste perfectly good seeds like that? But here's the amazing part. Those buried seeds, that sacrifice of not using them right away, would multiply 100 times by harvest time. That's how success works. You have to give up something valuable today to gain something even more valuable tomorrow. Some people say they want success, but they don't want to make any sacrifices. Giving anything up is like wanting to reap a harvest without planting any seeds. It just doesn't happen. The universe has a way of making sure that anything worth having requires some kind of sacrifice. If you want better health, you've got to give up that extra hour of sleep to hit the gym. If you want more money, you need to trade some of your free time to improve your skills, work on your business, or focus on your education. If you want better relationships, sometimes you have to swallow your pride and be the first to apologize. I remember when I was barely scraping by at first. I had a choice. I could either buy a TV and watch other people succeed, or invest in books to learn how to succeed myself. Sure, that TV would have given me some instant gratification, but those books, they opened up my future. Most people don't make it because they're not ready to be a little uncomfortable now for long-term gains. They want to eat their seeds and still expect a harvest, but that's not how life works. And here's the kicker. When we talk about sacrifice, it's not just about giving up something for nothing. It's about letting go of something good for something even better. It's about choosing to give up what you want right now for what you really want most. The question isn't whether you want success. Everyone does. The real question is, what price are you willing to pay? Because everything has a cost, and you have to pay that cost in full and upfront. But that's just the start of figuring out how success actually works in today's world. You know, when I started digging into what real success is, not just the stuff you see on magazine covers, I found out something pretty eye-opening. Success isn't what most people think. It's not about luck, and it definitely isn't about just sitting on your couch, munching on popcorn, hoping things will magically improve. Here's the deal. The marketplace is tough and straightforward. It doesn't care about your dreams, your wishes, or your good intentions. The only thing it rewards is value. The value you bring to the table. The value you create is the value you become. Let me share a story about a young guy I met at one of my seminars. Afterward, he came up all pumped and said, "I really want to be successful." I asked him what he did last weekend, and he said, "I just watched TV, hung out with friends, and played some games." I told him that's cool, but he needed to understand that successful people don't just want success, they actually work for it. Here's the hard truth about success that people don't want to hear. It's not something you chase, it's something you become. Becoming who you want to be means you need to change the way you think, act, and especially how you use your time. I often tell folks, don't wish things were easier, wish you were better. Don't hope for fewer problems, hope for more skills. Don't want less challenge, want more wisdom. That's the key, it all starts there. Now, let me tell you something interesting about the cost of success. Success has a price, and you have to pay it in full and up front. That's just how it works. You can't just buy success on credit. You can't think, I'll be disciplined after I make it. That's not how it works. The cost of success involves waking up early when everyone else is still in bed, hitting the books while others are out partying, saving money when others are splurging, practicing when others are just having fun, and learning while others are goofing off. What's interesting is that the cost of success is always lower than the cost of failure. But most people don't see it that way because they're not looking at the big picture. Thinking about today, this week, this month. But success isn't something you achieve overnight. It's built over decades. I remember chatting with a successful businessman who shared something really insightful. He said most people think they can accomplish a ton in a year, but they totally underestimate what they can achieve in 10 years. We want everything right away, but that's not how lasting success works. Your foundation for success comes from realizing that everything valuable comes at a cost. If you want better health, there's a price to pay. If you want better relationships, it comes with a cost. If you're aiming for financial independence, there's a price to pay too. And here's the catch. You can't haggle over that price. The only choice you have is whether you're ready to pay it. But here's the key point. Once you really grasp this, deep down, that success costs something and you're ready to pay up. Something amazing happens. Your excuses fade away, your procrastination disappears, and your commitment skyrockets. Why? Because now you get how things really work. In the game of life, you realize that success isn't just about luck or random chances. Speaking of how success really works, let me share something cool about the math behind achievement. What's interesting is that success follows certain mathematical rules. Just like gravity, 2 plus 2 always equals 4, no matter if it's yesterday, today, or tomorrow. Success operates the same way. It's not some big mystery, it's just math. Let me explain it in a way that will totally blow your mind. Every day, you're either getting closer to success or drifting away from it. There's no such thing as just staying put in life. Even standing still means you're going backward because time keeps moving forward. Here's a straightforward idea I want you to remember. Where you'll be in 5 years comes down to 2 things: the books you read and the people you hang out with. It's that simple. You can't spend 5 years with negative people and think you'll have a positive life. And if you don't read any books, don't expect to improve. Time is our most valuable resource, and we all get the same 24 hours a day, 168 hours a week. The difference between successful people and those who aren't isn't about time. It's about how they use it. I recently spoke to a young guy who said he didn't have time to read. I asked him how much TV he watched, and he said around 3 hours a day. I told him, "There's your reading time." It's not about having time, it's about managing it. And here's something that'll really surprise you. Small changes can add up over time. If you just get 1% better every day, by the end of the year, you'll be 37 times better, not just 365 times better. That's the magic of compound interest in your personal growth. Here's another idea. Successful people do small things that might not seem like much at the time. They read 10 pages of a good book every day, make 1 extra phone call, save a bit of money, or exercise for 30 minutes. Nothing too crazy, but it adds up. But here's the cool part. All these little things add up over time and lead to big success. Speaking of the compound effect, let me drop some wisdom about sacrifices. Every small sacrifice you make today builds into something way bigger tomorrow. When you decide to save $100 instead of blowing it, it's not just about that $100. It's about what that money could grow into. And when you spend an hour learning, instead of just zoning out in front of the TV, it's not just an hour. It's that hour plus all the chances that new knowledge can bring you. Success is all about the math behind it. Your income usually won't go beyond how much you've developed personally. If you want to make $110,000 a month, you've got to level up to a $10,000 a month mindset in terms of your skills, thinking, relationships, and habits. What's really cool about grasping this is that once you get it, you'll see that success isn't just luck. It's something you can predict, and it's based on clear principles. You'll stop just hoping and start knowing. Start putting in the effort because you get it now. Success isn't just about luck. It's about following the rules, like mathematical laws. Now, when it comes to becoming more valuable, let me tell you what successful people are ready to give up to reach their goals. The thing is, successful folks are willing to do what others won't, not because they enjoy it more. They definitely don't. They just know that a little discomfort now is worth it for long-term comfort. Comfort zones are just that. Zones. Interesting spots can be nice and cozy, but here's the thing about comfort zones: nothing ever grows there. I always say, life starts when you step out of your comfort zone. Successful people know how to embrace discomfort. They get that being uncomfortable today means you'll be unstoppable tomorrow. I remember when I first got into business, every morning I had a choice: stay snuggled in my warm bed or get up early and chase my dreams. No one was making me get up, and no one was checking if I showed up. I get it. But here's the thing that most people miss: success doesn't take breaks. It requires sacrifices, and that's where a lot of folks mess up. Successful people see time as a valuable resource. While others are glued to the latest TV show, they're busy reading, learning, planning, and working. While everyone else is grumbling about Monday morning, successful people are already halfway through their top priorities. It's crazy how most people put more effort into planning their vacations than into their goals. People spend hours hunting for the best hotel deals but won't take 15 minutes to plan their day. Successful folks ditch that go-with-the-flow mindset. They take control of their time instead of letting it control them. I had a friend who wanted to start a business. He said he'd get to it when he had time. I told him he'd never find the time. He had to make it. He wasn't happy with that, but 6 months later, he thanked me. He started waking up 2 hours earlier every day. The day was pretty comfortable, but he didn't enjoy it at first, not at all. But he realized something important. You don't just find time for the things that matter. You have to make time for them. This is where it gets interesting. Successful people make different choices about how they live. They drive used cars to save up for investments, live in modest homes while growing their businesses, and pack their lunches while others eat out every day. I remember chatting with a successful businessman who told me something really deep. He said that for the first 10 years of his business, he lived like nobody wanted to live, so that later on, he could live like nobody else could. Think about that. While others were buying new cars, he was getting used ones. While everyone else was splurging on fancy clothes, he was buying books. While others were all about looking successful, he was focused on actually being successful. Successful people don't deny themselves pleasure. They just put it off for a bit. They get the idea of sacrifice and know when to say no. Sometimes saying yes to something good today can lead to something even better tomorrow. For example, 2 young people kick off their careers. One saves $100 a month and invests it, while the other blows that extra $100 on fun stuff. Fast forward 30 years, and guess what? The first person is financially free, while the second is still stuck trading time for cash. Same amount of money, but totally different choices. What's really interesting about these sacrifices is that they're not sacrifices at all. They're investments. When you choose to skip TV time to read instead. You're not giving up on fun, you're putting your money into your brain. When you wake up early to work on your business, you're not losing sleep, you're investing in your future. Living below your means isn't about sacrificing your lifestyle, it's about buying your freedom. Successful people get that sacrifice isn't about losing everything. It's about letting go of something good for something better. It's about swapping what you want right now for what you really want most. People want to be successful, but they don't want to change. They expect different results without trying anything new. Successful people get that you can't grow different crops from the same seeds. If you want different results, you've got to plant different seeds. Speaking of changing our mindset about success, let me share something powerful about the shift in thinking that makes all those sacrifices not just possible, but inevitable. What sets successful people apart from those who aren't is not talent. It's not about luck or even education, it's all about your mindset. The biggest shift you can make is going from being a consumer to becoming a producer. Most people spend their lives just consuming food, entertainment, information, products. But successful folks wake up every day thinking, what can I create today? What value can I add? I remember chatting with a young guy who was whining about his job, his boss, and his paycheck. So I asked him a simple question. What have you produced today? Someone would actually pay for that. He just stared at me like he didn't get it. He was totally stuck in the mindset of just consuming instead of thinking about what he could contribute. Here's something interesting about excuses. Everyone has them. Both successful and unsuccessful people have problems, face challenges, and deal with setbacks. The difference is that successful people channel their energy into finding solutions, while unsuccessful people use their energy to come up with excuses. You can either stick with your excuses or go for what you really want. Success is great, but you can't have it all at once. They don't coexist. Every time you make an excuse, you're choosing mediocrity, but every time you take responsibility, you're choosing excellence. Here's where it gets really interesting. Personal responsibility is the key. This is where everything changes. When you own 100% of everything in your life, your results, your relationships, your finances, your health, something amazing happens. You go from being a victim to a victor. I often tell people not to play the blame game. Don't blame the economy, don't blame the government, don't blame your parents, and don't blame your education. Why? Because when you blame, you give up your power. And if you give up your power, you lose the ability to change your life. Personal responsibility means if you don't like something in your life, you change it. If you can't change it, then change how you feel about it. But never, ever blame. Blaming is just a game for consumers. Producers are too busy coming up with solutions to play that blame game. What's really cool about this shift in thinking is that it changes your whole perspective. Problems turn into opportunities, obstacles become stepping stones, and setbacks set you up for comebacks. That's why successful producers don't see problems, they see possibilities. I spoke with a successful entrepreneur who shared something really insightful. She said that the day she stopped saying, "I can't," and started asking, "How can I?" was the day her life changed. It's not about not having any obstacles, it's about how you choose to respond to them. This mindset shift is like a game changer. When you flick on a light in a dark room, you suddenly notice things that were always there, but just hidden away. You start to see opportunities where others just see obstacles. You recognize potential where others see problems. You take on responsibility when others just point fingers. Once you make this shift, from being a consumer to a producer, from making excuses to finding solutions, everything changes. Most people miss this, but without it, nothing else holds up. Success is just like that. It's all about building a solid foundation through daily habits. This is where it all starts. Your life isn't shaped by the big choices you make once in a blue moon. It's shaped by the little choices you make every single day. Think about it. What time do you wake up? What do you read? What do you eat? Who do you talk to? These little decisions may seem minor, but they're like laying bricks. One brick doesn't seem like much, but if you keep stacking them day after day, you end up building a wall. Keep it up long enough, and you've got yourself a cathedral. I remember chatting with a successful writer once shared something really deep with me. He said, "I'm not a great writer. I'm a great rewriter, and I write every single day." He got something that a lot of people overlook. Success isn't about going all out sometimes. It's about showing up consistently. It's not about what you do occasionally. It's what you do every day that really matters. It's all about putting in that steady effort. Most people mess this up. They start off strong and super excited, but then life gets in the way. They skip one day, then two, then a week, and before they know it, they're right back where they started. People get that being consistent wins over going all out every time. Consistent action looks like reading 10 pages of a good book daily, making 5 sales calls, writing 500 words, or exercising for 30 minutes each day. Nothing flashy, nothing over the top, just simple habits done every single day. What's interesting about being consistent is that it builds up like compound interest in your personal growth, just like money does. Your skills, knowledge, and abilities improve when you take consistent action. Small daily improvements can lead to big results over time. To succeed in the marketplace, you need to develop valuable skills. The market only pays for value. It's not about need, want, or desire. The more valuable you are, the more you can earn. I often ask people what makes them valuable in the marketplace, and most struggle to answer. They usually just say something like, "I'm a hard worker." Being reliable is great, but that's just the bare minimum. It's like saying a car has wheels. Of course it does. To really stand out, you need to build skills that tackle bigger problems. The more complex the problems you can solve, the more valuable you become. The more people you can help, the more valuable you are. If you're hard to replace, that just adds to your value. So, to develop valuable skills in the market, start with the basics, master them, and then move on. A lot of folks want to skip the basics. They want to sprint before they can even walk. But there are no shortcuts to success. You've got to take the stairs. Your skills need to grow as the market changes. What made you valuable yesterday might not cut it tomorrow. That's why you can't just learn once in a while. It's a must. Personal development isn't a one-time thing. It's something you should be doing every single day. What's really cool about building that foundation is that once you've got it, success follows. It's almost unavoidable, right? Nothing worth having comes easy, but it's unavoidable because you're not just counting on luck or random chances. You're creating something solid, something that lasts, something real. And speaking of real, the actual cost of not making those necessary sacrifices is pretty steep. The thing about life is, you're going to pay a price no matter what. You can either pay the price of discipline or pay the price of regret. And trust me, the price of discipline is light compared to the weight of regret. Regret is heavy, and procrastination is a sneaky killer of dreams. When you put things off, you're not just delaying, you're deciding your future. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," you're basically choosing a smaller life. What's interesting about procrastination is that it doesn't just rob you of today's chances, it also steals the potential growth from those chances. I once chatted with a guy in his 50s who said, 20 years ago, I had this idea for a business I was thinking about. I think about it every day, but I never got started. Last week, I saw someone else become a millionaire with the same idea. That's the real cost of procrastination, watching someone else live your dreams. You miss out on opportunities, and that's where it really stings. Every time you say no to growth, you're saying yes to stagnation. When you pick comfort over progress, you're settling for a smaller future. The chances you miss don't just vanish, they go to someone else. Here's something that'll blow your mind. Bad choices pile up just like good ones. Just like saving $100 a month can build your wealth over time, wasting that same $100 can keep you broke. Reading good books can make you smarter in the long run, while mindlessly watching TV can drain your brain. Everything compounds, good habits and bad habits alike. What's really interesting is that the cost of not making sacrifices is always higher than the cost of making them. When you skip out on exercise, you're sacrificing your health. And when you choose short-term pleasure over long-term growth, you're sacrificing your future. In the future, if you don't give up comfort for progress, you're giving up your potential. It's not just about money, although that's part of it. The real cost is who you become. While you're dodging sacrifices, choosing comfort and putting things off, someone else is grinding, growing, and making progress. Then one day, you wake up and see that the gap between where you are and where you could have been is huge, and it feels impossible to bridge. But here's the good news. It's never too late to change that. Start making the right sacrifices. It's never too late to begin building or growing. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Speaking of now, let me tell you what you need to do right this minute to start making those sacrifices that lead to success. What sets the dreamers apart from the doers? Action. Simple, immediate, decisive action. Right now, you have a choice to make. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when. The conditions are just right, so I'm going to challenge you to do something that might feel a bit uncomfortable. Grab a piece of paper right now and jot down 3 things you've been putting off. 3 sacrifices you know you need to make, but haven't had the guts to do yet. Maybe it's waking up an hour earlier, cutting out some unnecessary spending, or finally launching that business. Now here's the real challenge. Pick one of those sacrifices and start working on it tomorrow morning, not next week. Don't wait until you feel ready to start tomorrow morning. If you keep waiting for that feeling, you'll be stuck forever. Everything you want in life comes after making sacrifices. Want better health? You'll have to give up some comfort. Want to earn more money? That means cutting back on spending. Want better relationships? You'll need to let go of your pride. Want a brighter future? You have to sacrifice some present pleasures. Here's what I want you to do, and take it seriously. First, pick your sacrifices wisely. Make sure they're ones that help you grow, not just ones where you're denying yourself. Second, just start. Start small, but get going right away and keep it up. Remember, it's not the occasional big thing you do that shapes your life. It's the little things you do consistently. Here's something cool about taking action. The moment you start, something magical happens. The universe rewards action. Doors open, opportunities pop up, and help comes your way. But here's the important part. This only happens after you take that first step. Success isn't about what you're going to do, what you plan to do, or what you hope to do. It's all about what you actually do. Right now, think about the sacrifices you're making and the discipline you're practicing. Remember what we discussed earlier. You're going to pay a price no matter what. So, why not pay the price that helps you grow? Why not invest in something that pushes you forward? Why not choose the path that changes your life. Fast forward a few years, and you'll definitely get somewhere. The real question is, where will you end up? Two people left the same place 5 years ago. One took action, made sacrifices, and did what it took. The other just sat back and waited. Now's the perfect time to get over your discomfort and stop making excuses. Right now, you might be miles away from where you want to be, but in 5 years, you'll end up somewhere. Where exactly depends on the sacrifices you're ready to make starting today.